Day 2 at the Bruges conference of the North Sea region. And in the corridors of the Ode St Jan Centre, there was intense discussion at the 6 cafe sessions highlighting different themes. Transport was one of these. Each group was taken through strategies.
What role should local and regional stakeholders play in this?
The talk centred on research, policy development and future cooperation between countries.
Greening of transport is a very important issue, so reduction of emissions, modal shift is an important aspect, so getting trucks from the road and getting goods on barges, on ships, on rail. The new technologies, new engines, LNG as a fuel, so these are all important issues coming up.
The Innovation Cafe was looking at policy taking in the public and private sectors and how far good practice could influence all parts of the region. This was one of the best attended. Kate Dean from Aberdeen University was in charge.
What's been discussed so far is to look at the small to medium enterprises across the North Sea region, how they work and whether they work with universities and colleges and with the rest of the public sector. I would hope that what we can come out of this are a lot more projects which will actually assist both academia and the business community to bring things forward. But then you start to wonder where innovation stops and entrepreneurship starts. And I think that's, again, maybe one of the ways in which the results of this consultation will possibly widen what we're looking at in the strategy.
The Climate Change Cafe was also concerned about meeting goals against the 2020 austerity strategy. All this interaction was reported back for the plenary session after lunch.
The final plenary session took the form of a report back from representatives of the 6 interest groups. Among the first to speak was Pim Boone, representing the transport group.
Of course, money is always very important, and also in transport this came up. So in the future, we should try in our activities to involve other funding stakeholders. People talked about European Investment Bank, European Bank of Regional Development, and so on. We should involve them more in our work we're doing now when we're drafting new strategies, action plans, operational programs, so they know what's going on in this region, so we might have easier access to the capital they provide as well. So that was also one of the clear points that came forward out of our discussion.
The discussion then turned to the new North Sea Commission strategy document circulated at the conference.
While it's never going to be possible to produce a strategy that applies equally and correctly to every region, we can go along this path and filter what's in there so far to come up with something that's more or less right. On the view of what to do next, I mean, there was a discussion where we talked about, again, the funding available to achieve real change, and the fact that a lot of what is proposed, certainly in climate change, but also in some of the other subjects, is of course very investment heavy. We're going to need the national level in. And so we talked about, joining up policy that at the moment, as you mentioned, there's maybe a slight confusion between the strategy and the North Sea programme, whereas the strategy, in order to be effectively implemented, is going to have to be much wider than a North Sea programme.
Discussion chairman and head of the North Sea Region programme, Christian Birrett, also touched on relations between the two organisations in summing up the success of this year's joint conference.
I very much enjoy, personally, these conferences because we used to be, shall we say, if not two competing bodies, then at least two bodies with very specific and distinct goals. Now we still have that, but we have managed to bridge that gap and have actually achieved genuine cooperation on these conferences. I think that has great promises for the future and for the development of the next programme.
As delegates began what for many was a long journey home, European Commission representative José Palma Andres had some final advice about the future of the Interreg programme.
We believe that these programs are of a great utility by their innovation, capacity, by the possibility give for interchange and networking of different countries and regions which have common problems, which have common opportunities as well, and for which common solutions have to have to be found. So we believe that this is the right way. So we are proposing that these type of programs will be maintained. If the budget allows, be reinforced. And so we believe that by the end of the day, these programs will fit very well with the new EU objectives for the strategy 2020.